We're here. He's in person.
He's real.
Israel.
Unfortunately.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
I was hoping I would be fake.
Damn.
He's just a Jarvis entity.
Well, for this very special episode of Carson's Kanye Crusade, we decided to do this in person. We also were supposed to listen to this on CD, but I forgot.
Somebody's a dipshit.
End your life. So yeah, we're gonna listen to his magnum opus, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You ready, Holster? Because I know you really enjoyed 808s and Heartbreaks a lot. So what do you expect going into this album?
I'm hoping he'll be able to top what he previously did, but 808s is pretty good.
All right. Well, again, a lot of people also say that this is his magnum opus, so
That is true. I do say that.
let's see if that lives up to your expectations. So, yeah, we already did do like a little history lesson last time. I know that was kind of a lot, but quick rundown. This is like the comeback. This is the hoorah, last hoorah. So, there is
13 songs.
13 tracks, varying lengths. How long is this album?
An hour and some minutes, I think.
Hour and some minutes. You don't have anything else?
Remember, this is everything is at stake here. This is the big, nobody liked 808s at the time, so everything's at stake now. So he's got to put his all into this one.
So
Otherwise, he explodes.
That is true. So, if we don't have anything else to say, we will start with the first track, Dark Fantasy.
Can we get much higher?
Alright, well that was the first track, Dark Fantasy. What did you think of that one, Holster?
It was very decent. There's nothing really bad about it, but there's also nothing super good about it. You know, it's a very alright song.
Do you think that is... Because I know you really like the opening track to 808s. Where does that rank of as openers for albums so far you listened to?
I'd actually put it above 808s.
Its intro?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the best intro so far?
Potentially, yeah.
I know you like Registration's opening.
I would have to listen back to that one to come to a good conclusion, but this one was a good opening.
Okay. That's interesting to hear. I know there's I smiled a little bit during some of that part, but the part where the Can We Get Much Higher, that has also been memed a little bit. I don't know if you've seen some of those.
No, I've not.
Oh,
That's a good you didn't.
it's kind of good you didn't.
That's a meme you wouldn't like, Holster.
I don't think you would like it at all. But besides that, what did you think of that track?
Pretty good. I don't really have any comments. No negatives about that one. I just like it a lot. It's a nice blend of piano and choir and hip-hop rap, so.
I like that one too. I do think the line, so much head I woke up in Sleepy Hollow is kind of
That's some of our GOAT's writing right there.
yeah. Overall, I really did enjoy that opener track. Yeah, if we didn't have anything else to say.
Actually,
Oh,
I have a question.
what's up?
Was Kanye the guy in Paris?
I will not disclose that information until the next album.
You'll get your answer next album. That should be an answer enough.
Because I feel like he might have been in Paris.
Don't look at me. I'll just say you get your answer next album.
The answer will be revealed next album.
Who was in Paris?
So keep a lookout for that. But for right now, do you have any other questions?
Nope.
Don't have anything else.
All right, well, if we don't have anything else, we will move on to the next track, Gorgeous.
My black balls.
All right, well, that was Gorgeous. Holster, what did you think of that track?
It was groovy, but it didn't have that kind of substance that 808s had. And it kind of ran long. Once you got to a minute before the ending, it kind of overstayed its welcome.
So do you think it's a minute too long?
Yeah. It feels like something out of Late Registration.
Okay.
Which is to
I
say,
can see that, yeah. I can see that.
it's very alright, but it's not anywhere near the best stuff that Kanye has done.
Okay. I can kind of see that.
I see where he's coming from, yeah. I see the vision.
I will say, though, if length is going to be an issue or a main criticism of this
Yeah,
album,
this is one of the shorter ones on this one.
this is,
You're in for a treat.
you're going to be in for a treat. I must just say that.
It's only 13 tracks, but this album's an hour for a reason.
Yeah. It's length may or may not be an issue, just some songs, they just feel too long.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Sometimes they do drag.
I think a song has to earn its length if it's going to be longer. And sometimes I don't think songs earn their length when they're longer.
That's fair.
I think 10 minutes is ridiculous, bar none. Not that that's a spoiler, but I just think ridiculous, bar none, 10 minutes for a song. But
Well, what do you think of that track?
it's very cool. That's the first word that I would describe it as. It's very cool.
Yeah, I would say so. I do like the guitar, little loop throughout the entire thing's really good. I like that. Hook's great. I think probably that is also one of his best written songs, probably.
Mm-hmm.
The AIDS line is a little questionable because that you could sort of interpret that in multiple different ways. Like, does he want his friends to get the cure for AIDS, or does he want his friends to get AIDS? Because he just says, "I'll treat the cash the way government treats AIDS. I won't be satisfied till they get it." So I mean, do you want them AIDS? Do you want AIDS?
You should ask Today Kanye that now on Twitter.
Oh,
See what he says.
that is also gonna be a fun road to go down if we ever do. Showing you the entire history of his.
Escapades.
Yeah, I think escapades would be a good word.
I see where you're coming from with the late registration thing, though. The more I'm thinking on that, I see it. I think it's a good point. It reminds me of late registration.
Yeah,
Not that that's a bad thing, but
I could definitely see.
it just, I get those vibes. I see where he's coming from.
Yeah. Well, if we don't have anything else,
And nothing
All right.
else.
I guess we will go on to the next track, Power. Well, that was Power. Holster, what'd you think of that track?
That was pretty good.
All right. So this is the first track you've actually really liked.
Yeah.
All right, well that's good. What'd you like about that?
It was groovy, didn't overstay its welcome. It kind of had that switch up around the middle, which I think really helped it a lot. Substance, I don't know. I didn't really hear the words. I just...
Well, most people, when they pick up on that one, like you said, like near the middle / end part, the lyric, beautiful, this could be a beautiful death. That's something people have picked up on, especially, remember the last song we listened to, the 9-minute suicide track?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's also has like a little bit influence on this album as a whole.
Because like I said, that's kind of like a bridge between this one and the last one.
So people also did pick up that lyric, and even then, like, people thought that would have been his last album. You know, he would have either quit or himself. But
Make a loop-de-loop and pull.
shoes are looking cool. But yeah, it's nice that you enjoyed that track. What did you think of that track, Mr. Higgins?
Pretty good. I don't really have much to say about it. Again, it kind of like how with late registration, I didn't have a lot to say because they were all kind of in the same boat. These are all in the same boat, but slightly better.
Okay.
So again, I don't have a lot to say about it. Just
I really enjoyed that track. Samples is iconic, you know. 21st century schizoid man.
mm-hmm.
I'm a schizoid. Kanye's a schizoid. He's literally me.
Yeah, I go on his Twitter and then say that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's for later. This is like mostly saying Kanye right now.
Mostly.
I really enjoyed that track. You know, iconic. I would say probably when most people would think of Dark Fantasy, they think of that track, or a later track that's coming up. But even then, this is probably the most difficult album to like have like a definitive song for it. You know?
Because I say the first track's the definitive song, the intro. But that could just be because of the memes, honestly. I don't know.
Well, then the next track we're about to listen to,
Or this one, yeah, I know. It's like, yeah.
so that is kind of like the difficult like pinpoint, like which one is the track that defines this album. But yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed that one. If we don't have any further thoughts, we will go into the next track, which is All the Lights. Although technically this is the interlude, so we'll just play this into the next track.
And it won't pause because we're not listening on YouTube. It'll actually just flow into it.
Yippee! Well, that was All of the Lights. Holscher, what'd you think of that track?
Good, possibly better than the previous one.
Really? So you like that one more than Power?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you like about that track in particular?
It was the right amount of groovy. I'm not so busy grooving to the instrumental that I'm not thinking about the lyrics.
Yeah, I will say that, like, lyrically, that track, like, does like help set, like, the entire, like, mood or, like, theme of the album in my eyes. Yeah, and going back to the history lesson, the useless bullshit history. You know, everyone thought Kanye was just like some egotistical asshole. You know, you ruin everything. So with this album, he's sort of like playing into that, you know? Again, like, even says like the glamorous life, you know, living like a rock star, drug life, you know, all this expensive stuff. But again, it comes with a cost, you know? And I guess, and it goes more into that as the album goes on, but that's like the start of that whole album identities. But yeah, I did enjoy that track as well. That basically had everyone on it. I'm pretty sure there's like 10 people on that track uncredited for like backup vocals. I'll have to look that up.
Didn't know that.
Man.
I think there's like some crazy people on there. Like, pretty sure Elton John's on that somewhere as a backing vocal, but I don't know. I'll have to look that up on Wikipedia. But yeah, what did you think of that track?
If I had to gun to my head say what's the definitive Twisted Dark Fantasy song, I'd say this one.
Okay.
I do like it a lot. It's got a crazy ass beat.
Yeah, that is like a generational.
It comes out of left field, but in a good way, you know.
I mean, that interlude also does help build up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that track. I will say, probably just like a little funny thing about that, the hook. Rihanna did the hook. I don't remember. I think it was Super Bowl 22. We didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I watched the halftime show, and she played this, and like I woke up like thinking that Kanye was gonna come out on stage and perform. I was like neuron activated, like sleeper agent woke me the fuck up, but then I was incredibly disappointed when he didn't show up on stage. I was like, that ain't your song, woman. So I was a little disappointed when that happened, but that still doesn't take away the fact that it's still a good hook, and I really did enjoy that track. Yeah, if we don't have anything else to say, we'll move on to the next track, Monster.
Zombie with no conscience, Dracula, Mothman, Dragon, Bacillus, Leprechaun, Mummy, Minotaur.
Well, that was Monster. Holster, what'd you think of that track?
I think the middle was a little rough. Start was pretty good, end was pretty good. Put that together, you get a score of okay.
Okay, so like when you say middle part, did you mean like the Jay-Z verse, like the second verse of that?
Know who that is.
I don't know who that
The
is.
second verse when it swapped from Kanye.
Yeah, I kind of started getting rough around
Yeah,
there.
I mean that is kind of like the general consensus. Like everyone brought their like A game on that track, but it was kind of a little lacking on that one. But I still think overall that is a fabulous track. I guess I'll let you go next. What do you think of that track?
I think it's okay as well.
Damn, really?
Yeah. I do think it kind of drones in the middle, but it's not the lowest of lows. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch. But it's just kind of, you know, especially compared to the heater of the last song, I think it's kind of,
I don't know. In my opinion,
You know.
all these have been like 10s so far.
I can't give that a 10.
No, I'd say just for like Kanye's verse and Nicki's, that's like prime time. Especially Nicki's, that is like generational.
If it wasn't for the second verse kind of slowing things down, I'd give it a 10. But
Yeah, I mean,
can't,
that is
I
fair.
can't give it a 10 in good conscience. Every other song, yeah, so far I would give a 10, but I can't give that one a 10.
I don't know, I still really liked its like energy and
I'd like
flow.
it too, yeah, I do, yeah.
But
I really like the sort of intro of the song, how it's like kind of like a creature feature type thing.
the creature feature.
The creature feature featuring the creature.
Is
You
that
didn't
the
get that?
creature?
He might be, I don't know. Yeah, those are my thoughts though.
Well, all right. Well, if we've all had their thoughts on that one, I guess we will move on to the next track, So Appalled. All right. Well, that was So Appalled. That one made me appalled because it was so boring. Right, Holster?
Yeah, honestly, it did kind of start to drag on after a little bit.
My joke landed. Yippee.
Are those your honest thoughts?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's just like whatever. I don't really listen to that one too often. What did you else think about that track, Holscher?
Like I said, it does just kind of drag on a little bit.
That's fair.
Not a whole lot happening there, yet it drags on for 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the next one was almost 6 minutes, but in my opinion, it doesn't really drag that often. But that's neither here nor that's later. What did you think of that track?
I think it drags a little bit, but for the most part, I think it's all right. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dystopian instrumental, and I like that.
Yeah, and again, like, I know you're not paying attention, you're not like super listening for lyrics, but again, just reinforces the idea of like, y'all would love me at one point, but now you hate me, so I'm just gonna be the evil motherfucker. Again, that was mainly in Jay-Z's verse, but I don't know if you noticed this, but this is probably just the audio editor in me, but when it was doing like the chorus, like the one hand in the air if you don't really care, it cuts off a little bit. Like it was the middle finger line, like middle finger in the air, like he says air, but like it cuts off the R at the end, so it's like a, and then it cuts off for like a second, and then air, and then it goes on to the next lyric. I'll probably have put it in the video, but it is kind of a little distracting that that kind of a mess up is on this album.
You don't really care, middle finger in the air.
If only,
Did not notice that.
yeah, if only later albums didn't have that issue.
Not naming names.
Not naming names, but some albums do have some pretty big audio issues, but that's for later. But yeah, I just found that to be like a little interesting fact. Everyone else has pointed that out, that like such a little, I would say even say little, but a big audio fumble got
For a
into an
big
album
production
like this.
like this.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people who helped make this, but if we do not have any else to say about that track, we will go on to Devil in a New Dress.
You see this line right here?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
means that my property starts right here.
That's not
It goes
what that-
all the way. That's my fourth
is
of
not what
hell.
Well, that was Devil in a New Dress. Holscher, what'd you think of that track?
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Damn, son. Really?
It started off so strong,
Yeah?
and then just fumbles.
Really? What part did
Fumbles
you...
how?
What do you mean by fumbling?
I mean, like, lyrically, there's some notes that just don't hit quite right. I guess
Okay.
musically, there's some notes that don't hit quite right.
Like, what point do you think the song, like, starts to lose you?
I could point to it,
Okay?
but I don't have words for it.
Like, after the first verse, second verse?
I'd say after the first verse.
So after the first verse, you think the song starts to lose you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It just kind of falls apart.
Damn. So, like, you just...
The ingredients were there, they just didn't make the soup.
Damn. That's crazy. That's crazy to say. I think me and Drew are like, we probably have very different opinions, but that is kind of like a whiplash. Like, damn.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that track, then, Drew?
I really like that song.
Since you're just as in shock as I am.
I
to
really
what
like
Holscher
that
said.
song. I see where Holster's coming from. I just don't agree.
I can't see where he's coming from. I'm
I
being
do
honest.
see where he's coming from. I just don't agree.
I don't-
I like that song a lot. The sample's nice. I mean, that's not really, you know. I like that song. You know, is that the lowest rated one so far on this album? You think?
Like,
There's
it's
probably the most-
definitely not the lowest rated, because it at least had potential. It could have been something really good, it just wasn't.
Damn. So that's probably your most disappointing one then.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy to say that. Again, I still think, I know it sounds like I'm like glazing this, but like that is a top track.
That would be a 10 out of 10
Like-
for me.
That is, again, I know I've said this for Monster, but that is also like a generational like Rick Ross verse. Like nothing will probably top that. And even he said like, yeah, no, like I don't know what it is, but he just makes like this album. He makes people bring like A game and everything. But like, damn, that's still crazy to say. I really want to know like what what didn't work, but I can understand if you can't really put it into words.
It's just the notes don't flow in some places.
Like between like sample, guitar, because I know like they also had the guitar solo like at the halfway point.
Oh, the instrumental was fine. It was,
Just the actual like
Contents.
yeah.
I mean, I could see it, but again, like I can't really see it. 'Cause
That's what I'm saying. I kind of see where he's coming from. I just don't agree with that.
yeah, I don't.
But to each his own, you know.
Well, I'm just still taken aback by that.
I think
Damn.
Bryce is disappointed in you.
Well, I'm disappointed. I'm just like, damn. But I mean, so we're gonna have the next track, probably the most famous one off this album,
Yeah.
and what people consider to be Kanye's actual like magnum opus song. So, without further ado, here is "Runaway." Well, Holscher, that was "Runaway." What did you think of that track?
the first 6 minutes were really good.
I knew this, and I know what you're gonna say next.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 minutes, somebody said, "Man, this is good. We need to make it not good."
Okay. Well, what did you like most about the first 6 minutes of that track?
I feel like it did everything right. It's like
Alright.
the best parts of Bittersweet Poetry, the best parts of 808, the best parts of the rest of Graduation, and they just managed to pull it together. Then you hit the 6 minute mark, and they stop singing and start doing some sort of bit crushed auto tune. And
Well, yeah, that is singing. You can even hear-
Harmonizing.
Yeah, it's harmonizing. You can even hear it like near the end as well.
yeah, but it sounds bad.
Really.
It sounds awful. Those last 3 minutes should not exist.
I knew you were gonna probably say that.
What about you, Bryce? Where do you stand?
I still really, really love that track. Everything inconsidered. However, I do only listen to that once a month because probably if I replayed it, I would probably get sick of it. I only listen to that like once a month, really. You know, everything works. Pusha T, great, incredible verse. Kanye's verses are great. Instrumentals, once in a lifetime, even for him. You know, would I say it's my favorite track? Probably not, but I could still see why people think that is the magnum opus. But yeah, what did you think of that track?
I definitely see where Holster's coming from, but I still really like that song. I don't think the ending necessarily detracts from me. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, though, where I don't listen to it that often.
I mean, I still enjoy that ending.
I enjoy it, yeah, but I'm just saying I
Yeah.
don't revisit it, like, you know, constantly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like the song. I do really like the first 6 minutes. It's just the last 3 minutes are rough.
I'm like, your stance is here and his stance is here. I'm like, here. I'm right here.
I love the first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I just hate the last 3.
I knew going into that one, like, this was either going to be the you love it or you hate it. But yeah, I could definitely see why you have, like, the mixed opinion of loving the first 6 minutes and hating the last
I definitely
3.
see where he's coming from.
I mean, yeah.
And I'm not.
It is either.
I'm not even gonna say I disagree with him. 'cause,
Yeah.
I mean,
It is either you love it or you hate it, the last minute part of it. So
I see where
I
he's
could
coming from.
definitely.
I wouldn't say I hate the last part of it, but I just see where he's coming from.
It's
and
not for
I
everyone.
definitely don't disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts you want to share about that track? Do you think that is considered to be Kanye's magnum opus song?
I could appreciate why people would say that.
If it was just the
Fair
6
enough.
minutes and it ended with just like the piano, like maybe like fading off, would you consider that to be his magnum opus?
I would.
Really? Even
That's
though we're like
interesting.
not even like halfway through his entire discography, you would say that would be his magnum opus?
So far.
Okay.
You can't box him into a
I'm
corner.
not
like
boxing
that.
him into a corner. I'm just saying, as of now, if that was just that 6 minutes, that would be his magnum opus to you.
Yeah.
We'll
Alright.
have,
That
we'll
would be
have,
his
that's
best so far.
I respect that opinion.
We'll have to ask him when we get to the end. What's
that
what's
deep-
his magnum
yeah,
opus?
the
What does
very,
Holster
very end.
think the magnum opus is?
Yeah, we will keep that in mind. But yeah, I kind of expected this, but you know, it's still interesting to hear. But if we don't have any other thoughts on that track, we will move on to Hell of a Life.
that Game of Thrones.
Well, that was Hell of a Life, Holster. Was that a hell of a song, though? Is what I would say.
It's definitely an interesting one.
All right.
Kind of goofy. Kind of groovy. It's all right.
All right. I can definitely see, like, where he's saying, like, goofiness aspect. Yeah, like those past 3 tracks, it's more like, instead of, like, the glamorous life, more of, like, focus on the aspect of, like, relationship and, like, how this life also, like, destroyed any semblance of him having any normal relationships with any woman, you know? So I think that's, like, the perfect trilogy of that. Just those, like, 3 tracks, like, Devil in a New Dress, Runaway, and then that track. And this is sort of, like, the epilogue to that, but I still really enjoyed that. Very rock inspired. I mean, even sampled Iron Man, which it is a great sample. I love, like, the guitar work and all that, but I definitely understand why some people would be upset about that in recent events. A certain song.
I'm drawing a blank.
Your favorite song?
I don't know what my favorite was.
The TikTok song.
Oh, yeah.
But that's for later. But I still really enjoy
I don't
that track.
think about that song when I don't have to. God damn it.
That's fair. No one really thinks about those.
Anyway, though, yeah.
Good album. What did you think of that track?
I think it's not a 10 out of 10, but not for any bad reasons. It's just not up there, you know?
Okay.
That's the best I could give it.
All right.
I don't have any thoughts outside of that. I do like it, but it's just not there, you know?
Right. I could see that. You know, it is sort of a tonal whiplash, but I guess that's kind of a point. Like, go from, like, this beautiful, like, piano, I would say ballad, but just, like, orchestral.
I mean, it's not necessarily why I don't like it.
I know.
It's just that, you know,
but
I just can't put it at a 10 out of 10. I don't know why. I can't really articulate it.
Yeah,
It's just not on that level.
right. Again, like, some people could be like, you go from, like, the beautiful orchestral arrangement of Runaway to, like, the grimy rock aesthetic and, like, lyrics of Hell of a Life.
I like Whiplash.
But I mean, that is kind of like its point, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, if we don't have any thoughts on that track, we will move on to Blame Game.
Who the fuck got your pussy all reposted?
Easy reposted my pussy.
You know what?
Well, that was Blame Game. I'd probably already know what you're going to say, but Holster, what are your thoughts on that track?
Got a lot of thoughts.
All right, let's hear them.
I think right up to the point it stops being music, it's got a good mix of melancholy, groovy. The parts that are music are pretty good.
All right, so you like the song that's music. That's the music.
Yeah.
All right.
The parts that aren't music, I don't know.
You don't know.
He doesn't know.
No comment on the Chris Rock?
No.
Just yapping for 3 minutes almost?
Probably would have been a little better off without it, but you know, at least we got some laughs.
Yeah.
Is that good laughs or like because it's what he said was funny, or like bad laughs because you're like, what the hell is this doing on this song?
Both.
All right, you know what? That's perfectly fair. What did you think of that track, Mr. Drew?
I think it's pretty good up until that point. I think the phone call is unintentionally and somewhat intentionally funny. I think it could have gone without it because it's the audio equivalent, and this might not make sense. It's the audio equivalent of show don't tell, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
He didn't really need that. He kind of got the point across. Or he could have gotten a better point across without that.
Yeah.
So that's the way I view it, is the audio equivalent of show don't tell.
I could see that. Like, you know, you get the entire point of the song, like going through an ugly breakup. You know, both of you going your separate ways, even though you still probably want each other, even though you're not good for each other. I could definitely see that, and then like the phone call kind of ruins that mystique. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, now we get it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Thank you for telling us. I think that track's fine. Again, probably not have the phone call. Or at least if you do, maybe make it like 10, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's a lot more to the point.
Yeah.
It kind of goes over the top for
It
no
does
real
go
reason.
a little bit overboard. Any other thoughts?
No.
Well, if we don't have any other thoughts, we will listen to the last track on this album, Lost in the World, and then we'll just go into Who Will Survive in America, because that's basically just add on to Lost in the World. So the final track, Lost in the World.
And it'll be a long time before you ever see me again.
Well, that was Lost in the World / Who Will Survive in America. Now, Holscher, what did you think of that last track?
I've got the same thing to say for this track as I do for the album.
Okay.
It had its merits, but at some point, it just kind of falls off.
All right, that's fair. What could you like go into more depth about that with Lost in the World, and then we'll just get like an overview of the album.
It's missing something.
Okay.
Or maybe it has something it shouldn't have. I'm not sure. It's one of the two.
I was gonna say, because I know that track sort of sounds like a leftover almost from 808s, just like sound-wise, you know, in my opinion. What did you think of that track?
I really liked it. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I don't care much for Who Will Save America, but that's kind of just, you know,
yeah,
a tag on. But as far as Lost in the World goes, I like it. I don't really have anything good or bad to say about it. I just, you know, it's all right. I like it.
I'm in the same boat. I'm leaning more towards liking it, but I just don't really listen to it.
Yeah.
I do think it is kind of like, I wouldn't say unnecessary, but it just doesn't really fit the entire also tone of the album. Like, I know it's probably supposed to be like a happier ending, but honestly, I would have probably been fine with either Blame Game or Hell of a Life ending the album off, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. What are your overall thoughts now on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, having listened to the entire album now, Holscher?
I respect the opinion that it is Kanye's magnum opus. However, I do not agree.
Really? Okay.
In a lot of ways, I feel like it is to Kanye's discography so far what Late Registration was to College Dropout.
Okay.
Which is a rehash of a lot of the same ideas, but not quite as good.
So are you saying that you said Late Registration rehashes a lot of ideas from College Dropouts? So does that mean this sort of rehashes a lot of the same ideas from 808s, or?
I'd say 808s and Graduation.
Oh, okay.
In a lot of ways, it takes the good parts and keeps doing those. But also, there's just consistently something that ought not to be there.
Okay.
You know, like, there's a lot of tracks where he keeps it going when it shouldn't keep going.
You think so? Like, length is also like a big issue probably for.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's just a lot of unnecessary bits that break the flow. Like I said a few times earlier, the ingredients were there, we just don't have the soup. This could have been his best.
Was there certain points that you thought, okay, this could probably be like actually his best?
Yeah, there were.
Okay.
And then he managed to mess it up within 3 minutes of that.
So if like you trimmed up some of the songs to like make them a little shorter, maybe cut a couple songs, would you say this is his magnum opus?
It would be then.
Okay.
We were this close.
Just this close. All right. I could kind of respect that. What do you think of this album as a whole?
There's two sides to this coin. As far as personally, no. That's not my favorite. Graduation is still my favorite. But that's, again, that's personal. That's a bias.
Right.
As far as production value, probably, because this album is like very grand and like everybody's, you know, like you said, everybody brought their A game and it's just a very grand production. So production wise, probably. Personally, no. But I still do like it. I still do really like the album. That's not saying I don't like it. I really, really do like this album. This is probably number 2.
All right, that's fair. As for me, I would say it's top 5, maybe top 4 or 3. Again, I still really like College Dropout because I think that's also still like just an overall quality still very high. You know, like I even said before, I'd rather have an album to have consistent 8s or like 9s than an album to have like 10 out of 10s and then be filled in with like 6 or 7s. You know, that's how I still feel about this one. I'd say even more so with this one compared to Graduation. I still really enjoyed it. I can definitely see why people also really like consider it his grand his greatest project, but there's, like you said, there's some aspects where it's like, okay, you couldn't probably use this, but I still respect it. So overall, rating wise, what would you rate this album out of 10?
Well, I liked it about as much as College Dropout, so
7 or a 9, but not an 8. Is that what I'm
Yep.
getting
Well,
at?
he said an 8 when we did late registration. I'm
I
pretty
know,
sure.
but I'm saying like initially.
Initially, yeah.
Initially,
7
you're
or a
saying-
9, but not an 8.
You're saying Twisted Fantasy is a 7 or a 9, but not an 8.
yes.
Okay,
That's
so
one of the funniest things you've ever said.
maybe by the time we get to the next album, you'll have a definitive answer. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
as of now, 7 or 9, but not an 8.
Is graduation still top for you?
Graduation is second to 808s.
So 808s
Oh, yeah,
is,
808. Sorry.
so 808s is still your favorite album so far.
Yeah.
God,
Okay,
what kind
that's
of space we
respect-
did 808s. I don't know why.
That's still respectable. Well, yeah. I guess that's it then.
Yeah.
Next is Watch the Throne.
So the next one is going to be a collab album with Jay-Z. We've heard a couple of times on his projects. If you want a reference, he was the second verse on Monster that you didn't like. So if that puts anything into perspective, we'll have to watch that. But yeah,
And we'll also find out who's in Paris, maybe.
possibly.
Very good.
So yeah, until next time, we will do Watch the Throne.